What's up, everybody? Andrew Mahone here with Darium's Competitive Pokemon, back for another Card of the Day series. Today's Card of the Day is Eelektrik. Eelektrik is a Stage 1 Lightning type Pokemon from the Noble Victories set, released in English in 2011, which is the first set that I ever played with. 2011 Noble Victories was my very first event. It was the Noble Victories pre-release, and I have a lot of attachment to this card. I think Eelektrik is so cool, and I'm just so excited to talk about it. Unfortunately, Eelektrik is not legal in the standard format. It is an old card, but it was recently reprinted in this Keldeo Rayquaza EX battle deck, so it is pretty easy to find. I think I just saw they're only like 30 cents online right now. Very easy to get a hold of, and is actually a pretty affordable deck for the upcoming expanded format. So if there's anybody looking to play in the upcoming expanded regional championships, about half of the regional championships are going to be expanded this year. So players are going to have to adapt their strategies to deal with both standard and expanded formats this year if they want to play competitively and compete for a world's invitation. So I'm pretty excited about expanded format this year, and I have used Eelektrik in the expanded format before, and I've done pretty well with it, and I really like this deck and this card, and I'm just super excited to talk about Eelektrik. So like I said, I have an attachment to it. I've been playing it for a long time, ever since I started the game, and have played it in a bunch of different decks, so I got a lot to talk about. But let's get right to it. As you can see, Eelektrik is a Stage 1 electric type Pokemon with 90 hit points. It has an ability and an attack. So its ability is the most important part about this card. Its ability, Dynamotor, reads: once during your turn before you attack, you may attach a lightning energy card from your discard pile to one of your benched Pokemon. Super cool. Dynamotor allows you to bring lightning energies from your discard pile, attach them to your bench Pokemon. You could do it once per turn per Eelektrik. So if you have 3 Eelektrik set up on your bench, you can get 3 different lightning energies from your discard pile and attach them to whichever benched Pokemon that you would like. This is really cool and very good for powering up lightning Pokemon's attacks. Eelektrik also has an attack, Electric Ball, which does 50 damage for 2 lightnings and a colorless. That is a very underpowered attack, though I have used Electric Ball before. It was usually not in games that I was winning. Eelektrik is usually a bench sitter. He is kind of your textbook bench sitting Pokemon. You're going to have him sitting on the bench with his other Eelektrik friends and powering up your big hitters. So Eelektrik also comes paired with Tynamo. Tynamo is the basic Pokemon that Eelektrik evolves from. There are a few Tynamos that you can play, though I think that this 40 hit point Tynamo with Thunder Wave attack is the best one to choose from. There are a few others. There is one Tynamo that for a lightning energy does 10 damage to the active and 10 damage to one benched, I believe, which is an okay one. That's kind of the runner-up. There's also a 30 hit point Tynamo that has free retreat, and this one used to see play because it had free retreat and was super awesome and had a lot of synergy with the deck. But unfortunately, then Pokemon like Darkrai EX were printed, which had Night Spear attack, which can do 30 damage snipe to the bench, so it just became a huge liability. Also Landorus EX, and in expanded format, obviously we have Trevenant's Silent Fear, which does 3 damage to each of your Pokemon, would single-handedly knock out one of these Tynamo. 40 hit points is just the magic number for Tynamo right now. You got to play the one with 40 hit points. And unfortunately, this one does have a retreat cost, but Thunder Wave is a super great attack. Flip a coin. If heads, the defending Pokemon is now paralyzed. Paralyzation is by far the best special condition, and that's the reason why you have to flip for it most of the time, because it totally immobilizes the opponent's Pokemon. They can't retreat, they can't attack for one turn, and it is just super great. So Thunder Wave can really help stall your opponent while you set up your Electriks on the bench, and that's why I have chosen this Tynamo with the Thunder Wave attack and the 40 hit points, and this will be the one that I talk about when I'm talking about Eelektrik and Eelektrik decks. So we can go ahead and get him out of here, because we are just talking about Eelektrik from here on out. So Eelektrik Dynamotor ability, like I said, is going to be used to charge up very powerful attacks, and is mostly used with Pokemon that use electric energy, obviously. Though it has been used with the likes of Mewtwo EX in the past, it has also been used with Rayquaza EX in this and Ray Eels, Rayquaza Eelektrik deck, and it was also used with Zekrom from the Black and White set in a deck called Zekrom Eels. But more recently, it has been used primarily with Raikou in a deck called Raikou Eels or Rai Eels in the expanded format. Raikou has this attack called Thunder Lance, a very powerful attack, which does 50 damage plus 20 more damage for each lightning energy attached to Raikou. So if you have 3 energy attached to Raikou, which is what the attack cost is 3 energy. If you have 3 energy attached to Raikou, you could do 110 damage for 3 lightning energies. If you have 6, you can do 170. So Eelektrik can power up Raikou's attack very quickly and efficiently and brings the electric energies out of the discard pile to that benched Raikou, and then you can bring the Raikou into the active Pokemon and to the active position and power up big Thunderlance attacks. So this is a viable strategy that has seen some success in the expanded format in the last about year and a half probably. I was able to use the deck to finish in the top 32 of the St. Louis Regional Championships this past year, so I can at least say that the deck has been viable as lately as, maybe 8 months ago. But I think the deck gets a lot of new tricks in the upcoming expanded format from a lot of the new sets that have been released lately, and I think Eelektrik has a very promising future, and so I'm pretty excited about the future of this card. Logistically, let's talk about Dynamotor a little bit. So Dynamotor can only go to the bench. So a lot of times you're going to be attacking with a Pokemon, that Pokemon will get knocked out, then you need to use Dynamotor to charge up energy onto a benched Pokemon, but you have to pick a Pokemon to promote first. So a lot of times in the Eelektrik deck, it's very important to have a free retreater, or at least a Pokemon with a Floatstone on it. So a lot of times Eelektrik will get paired with Floatstone, or you'll play a free retreater, some Pokemon with a free retreat, so that you can promote that Pokemon with the free retreat or the Floatstone attached, use Dynamotor to charge up an attacker on your bench, and then retreat into your attacker and use the attack with those lightning energies that you have just charged this turn. Dynamotor is a funny ability in that way, kind of like a reverse Metagross GX. Metagross GX uses its ability to accelerate metal and psychic energies from the discard pile, but can only accelerate to the active. Eelektrik is the opposite. It accelerates from the discard pile, but can only go to the bench. So you have to alter your play accordingly. It is not very hard. It's not a very hard condition to get around. Like I said, usually somebody will get knocked out, and then you just promote maybe an Eelektrik with a Floatstone on it, and then you can use your Dynamotor ability to charge up that Pokemon on the bench and retreat to get that attacking Pokemon into the active position. Dynamotor, very stable as well. That's something that I love about Dynamotor, is that it doesn't require anything in your hand to execute. You can use it once a turn so long as your Electrics are in play, and so long as your abilities aren't getting shut off by something like Hex Maniac or Garbotoxin Garbodor. So even if your opponent ends you down to 1 or 2 and limits your hand size, you can still charge up your Pokemon so long as you have lightning energies in the discard pile to Dynamotor onto your bench Pokemon. So I love that it's resilient to N and is very hard to disrupt even at the end stages of the game. I think that is very, very cool. So Eelektrik, very powerful supporter Pokemon, has been used to charge up a lot of different Pokemon in the past, but I think it gets some pretty cool new tricks. Raikou, like I said, is kind of the bread and butter partner for Eelektrik at this point, but there are a lot of other options as well. Tapu Lele GX, for example, is going to be a great addition to Eelektrik decks because you could easily power up Tapu Lele's Energy Drive attack with lightning energies using Dynamotor. Also, Jolteon EX is another possibility. You can use that Flash Ray attack to prevent damage from basic Pokemon. Specifically, this is good against decks like Night March, Darkrai, and Volcanion. Preventing attacks from basic Pokemon to that Jolteon EX. Pretty cool move. There are also some other Pokemon that you use. There's Taboo Cocoa Gx, which has a great GX attack, which does 50 damage times the number of energy attached to all your opponent's Pokemon. That's really good against Turbo Dark, right? So maybe Eelektrik will start to get paired with Taboo Cocoa Gx as well, and you can Maybe you can attack with Taboo Cocoa and then use AZ, a supporter card that brings Pokemon into the active and discards all the energy, and then you can use Eelektrik to power them all back to a different Pokemon, something like that. It's just a possibility, but I think that Eelektrik can pair up with a lot of these different lightning Pokemon and has a lot of promise for the upcoming expanded format. There are also some more fringe Pokemon that you can power up, like Pikachu EX, which does 50 damage times the amount of lightning energy you discard from Pikachu. So Pikachu can ramp up to like 250, 300, and even more damage if you have, 6, 7, 8. If you have 8 lightning energy attached to a Pikachu and you discard them all, you're going to be doing 400 damage. So that's a whole heck of a lot. Obviously, Pikachu EX unfortunately doesn't have a lot of hit points, so it's a little weak and is probably not going to be seen in this deck, but it is an option nonetheless. I think Eelektrik is just a super cool card and a great archetype heading into the upcoming expanded format, and I expect it to see a lot of success. It's also usable with that Rough Seas support stadium card, so it is resilient to bench damage as well. Eelektrik only has 90 hit points, so it is easily picked off on the bench, especially by things like Silent Fear from Trevenant Break. If you play against a Landorus or a Crobat deck, it's pretty easily for your Electrics and your Dynamos to get knocked out. So Eelektrik is often paired with Rough Seas in order to keep your Electrics alive and in order for your Raikus to be able to kind of sustain damage throughout the course of the match, and gives them a boost in survivability as well. So all in all, Eelektrik, an awesome card, super cheap. If you're looking for a relatively cheap deck to build for the upcoming expanded format, I highly suggest taking a look at Eelektrik Raikou, because it is just a nice solid archetype and I think it's a lot of fun to play. So thank you all for watching my card of the day video. Let me know what you all think of Eelektrik in the comments below. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Peace.